church hurt. I guarantee you the vast majority of you have been there, relate to that topic, or know somebody who has, like I do. My guest today, Elizabeth Bennett McKinney, is an expert on living through it, healing from it, and helping you heal. But first, well, good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. But first, we're going to have my little 22-second mini vacation. We're going to breathe in some calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 seconds. We're going to breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds and take a be still and know moment. Here you go. Will you join me with some calm? Here we go. Hold. Relax, release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Don't you know, I say it every week, but shouldn't we do that multiple times a day just to get some grounding and centeredness? So
yeah, exactly.
I'm so excited to have Elizabeth Bennett McKinney, my guest today. That is, you know, she's a bully expert, and that's not necessarily something you want to have the experience to be, but she is, and she's helping others through it. So, Elizabeth, would you please give us a little bit about who you are in this world, and then we'll talk about what you do.
So. Works for me. I'm Elizabeth, and you know, if you want to talk about my identity, it's in Christ. My first and foremost, I am a child of the King. He created me. He planned my life for me. It's really his. You know, I'm just here for the ride, and I have experienced a lot of things. And one thing, she mentioned the bullying. I am a pioneer in the field. On December 15th, 2001, my website, which was research I'd done when I was at Clemson, my website was the first informational website on the subject to go live in the United States. Yeah, and for 15 years, I worked on this. I worked with families, I did coaching, I spoke throughout the nation, I helped lay the groundwork out there. Some of what I've done is out there, I've seen it. And I was really dedicated to the cause. And I had to step away in 2017 for personal reasons. And over the past few months, I've been building my ministry, but I feel like I'm being led back into this to a degree. I don't know. I'm praying about it. So yeah, I know all things bullying, believe me. And, you know, I lived it myself. And so I see how the Lord, how he lined all that up, you know. The things I went through, I was able to go through and help other people. You know, I found myself, I met kids who were where I was, teens, and I'm like, I've got this, you know, and I would help them set goals towards working towards overcoming it. You know, it can be prevented. You know, it's just a matter of doing the right steps and doing the right thing.
So we're talking about bullying, and your expertise is about the church hurt of bullying being hurt in the church. And we're going to get into some of that, because I certainly had some of that in my family. And, you know, and I'll just say this, because I say it a lot in my conversations, because bullies are victims too. Bullies it's like, abused people are victims too. So it's not, yes. And God loves every single solitary person on the face of the earth, whether you're in the gutter, whether you're a murderer. God is love. He can't be not loved. So, I'm going to frame it around that, because they come into it with experience typically. It usually is handed down from somewhere else. I don't think people are born necessarily bullies. So feel like that's a piece that we can just kind of toss out there now and have consideration as we're moving through this topic, because it's a tricky topic.
It is.
I mean,
and you have to look at it case by case, though. You look at the problems that develop from bullying. Okay, a lot of bullies, a lot of times they become narcissistic, but so do those who were bullied. Pathology plays into this, psychopath, sociopath, both sides of the coin. There are bullies that have anxiety. There are bullies that are depressed. You can't really put it in one box. You can't. And each case, when I was doing this, I learned each case was unique. Whether it was, 2 bullies, 3 bullies, one was depressed, one was pathological, I mean, whatever. It's a case by case thing. And a lot of times when you look at the bully, some of them have been hurt. They learned it. It is a learned behavior. But also, some do it because they can. Some do it for entertainment. This is where it gets pathological. Some do it for entertainment. Some do it because they really are hurting. When we got on Facebook, I would say about 15 years ago when it first came, and everybody from school started reconnecting and this and that, I would hear things here and there, how people grew up. And a lot of those who were bullies as children, they carried a large amount of guilt for the most part. But then there were 1 or 2 that were not sorry. They did everybody a favor. That's when it gets dangerous. Because someone's operating without a conscience when they do that. So, it's a mixed bag. You can look at the characteristics, the traits, but it's a mixed bag. It really is.
Well, and there's, it's because there's no two alike.
No.
There is no cookie cutter on all that. But because the term has gotten so popular, and they're bullying me there, but so my grandkids and I'm like, you might consider something, and perhaps looking at them as they don't love themselves enough to love others. So somehow or another, there's a missing piece. And so, yes, I know that there's some seared consciences out there, however you say that.
Yeah.
But I do believe that all of it stems from not loving themselves enough to know how to treat and love others. A lot of it stems from that, and or something innate. I don't know where it comes from that deep.
I can get to that. First of all, if 2 people are fighting, it's not bullying. I hear it all the time. I'd hear it when I go speak in the schools. Someone would touch someone. You're bullying me. No, you're not. Or this person said this, and then this person said this, but this person says they're. No, you're not. You're having an argument. There is a difference. If 2 people are going back, I go, that's not bullying. That's just drama. And a lot of these kids will go around and you bullied me, you blah blah blah. But no. 2 people fighting is not bullying. It really isn't.
Well, that's a good point. But I want. So when I was the little 8 or 9-year-old, I'm getting bullied. We've taught a lot of people to be victims instead of standing up for their themselves, and so I'm like, consider that perhaps they had a bad day. Perhaps they didn't mean it. Perhaps something's going on so deep at home that they don't know how to treat each other or treat other people. And perhaps you could just, like my friend, like my daughter's boyfriend, actually, he said, yeah, somebody came and punched him out and did all this stuff and just beat him up. And he's like, the next day went up and shook hands with the kid and goes, man, that was tough yesterday. But, and they became friends because the guy didn't know how to become a friend. Right. So, I'm trying to teach my little ones to consider, first of all, don't take everything personally. That's the victim mentality. You're taking it personally. You making
Yeah.
assumptions and taking it personally and adding drama to your life instead of,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
giving some grace occasionally and not
Yeah.
don't become a victim around it. Don't I mean, and so in this tiny book, Candy Bar Hugs, it doesn't take much to make a difference. One of my lines in here, one of the things I say is unconditional love, love as God loves, unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. You don't want to be a victim and not have some boundaries.
And I have concerns that because bullying's out there, because we do take up for the victim so much, I wonder if sometimes after I stepped out of the field for a little while, I wonder, did we add to that victim mentality in some of these cases? I have to wonder, because we don't want victims. We want overcomers. We want
Great
overcomers.
term, overcomers, and just
Yes.
stand in who you are and have the enough confidence to stand in who you are. Don't take abuse. I'm not saying that.
Oh,
And
no,
that's the
no, no,
reason,
no.
because I used to say unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness like God does, and then I was like, somebody might take that to think that they
You forgive,
can be.
got to protect yourself too. There are cases in my own life where people went too far. I forgave them, but I also saw the toxic in them. And I had to keep I'm like, we're not going to be friends because you're just too much. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to, because you got to take care of yourself. And I think the Lord understands we're not going to like everybody. We're not going to get along with everybody. Not everybody's going to like us. It'd be nice if that happened, but it's not going to.
A
And
little unrealistic, but
yeah. There you go. Yeah. But
so tell us. I want to know. I mean, your story started at 6 years old, and a 43-year-old some Christian started bullying you, and that just seems out of.
it's called child abuse, plain and simple. The word I want to clear something up too. Stop. I wish people would stop using the word bullying over the word abuse. It's starting to replace that word, and it's minimizing the problem. I don't even call bullying bullying. I call it peer abuse because that's what it is, plain and simple. So anyway, everything started at 6. I got saved. It was during the Jesus movement, and it was in an evangelical church. It was on a Sunday evening, soon after I turned 6. And I was growing in God. I was growing in Him. I loved Him. I was learning more and more about Him. All of this, I was in church. My Nana, my grandmother, she was very influential in my growth. I had friends along the way, and this was going on. As I got a little older, I started getting confused in some areas with my faith because, I had the world around me, but yet I had this, and we were always taught the world is bad. Christians are don't belong out there. But yet people were bringing the world into things, and I'm like, I want that too. I mean, it's just part of my carnal makeup, and so I started getting a little confused. But when stuff really started happening was when I was 12. Before I turned 12, there was a woman and her daughter that my mother and I knew. My mother knew her growing up, but they weren't friends, and they became friends when they got older at this point. And this woman, she wanted to be popular in school, and she tried everything, and it just wasn't going to happen. Just wasn't going to happen. So her goal was to make her daughter popular, and it became an idol to her. And her daughter didn't really like me. My mother wanted me playing with this little girl, but the little girl didn't want to play. So I was trying to get someone to like me that just didn't. And one big thing I learned from all that, don't try to make someone like you. If they don't, they don't. It's just how it is.
Be you.
Pardon?
Be proud of it.
Yeah, right. But yeah, this woman, I was getting stressed out. The whole thing was stressful because I was trying to get along with this child. She didn't want to talk to me. It was crazy. My mother wanted me playing with her. And so, I was just getting, and Mom went down to her house one night. She said, because this woman was going out, praise the Lord, hallelujah. We thought she was this total Christian woman. And my mother went down to her house one night, and the woman, my mom went down there. It says in Matthew 18 to go to your brother if there's a problem. And Mom did that. And she, in her heart, she's like, let's go pray about this. This woman wasn't interested in prayer. When my mother got down there, she screamed her out of the house. She said, my daughter's perfect. Your daughter is this bad, horrible child, this kind of thing. And like, where did that come from? So soon after, I was relieved when that happened because I didn't have to try to make this child like me. Because I'm like, if someone, I felt so much relief, but it was just getting started. This woman started spreading lies about me. 43-year-old woman spreading lies about me. Well, I tampered with her idol. There you go. And not only that, I realized later as I got older, she was narcissistic. And this is very characteristic of a narcissist. They love smear campaigns. And this woman, she should have known better, but in her sick mind, she did it. And she spread lies about me. I don't even remember what half of them were, to tell you the truth. It was getting back to my mother. People were like, what is going on with her? And they started spreading. They spread through 2 churches and 3 schools.
Wow.
And it got out of hand. It really did. And it was turning people against me left and right. I mean, here I was 2 months earlier singing Jesus Loves Me with these kids that were spitting spitballs in my hair 2 months later. I mean, yeah, it was intense. And we couldn't stop it because my mother knew if she went back to her, it would have gotten worse. Her daughter was perfect. I was just bad. And she told everybody. And this really affected me, Charla. It really did. I developed depression, anxiety, PTSD. I was overly stressed. I was a very stressed out little girl. I really was. And this stayed with me, through school. And I want to say when I was 24, I was diagnosed with clinical depression. And see, I have it on my father's side of the family. It's my paternal grandmother's family is full of depression. So I carried the gene, and it got triggered by this. And I was put on medication. I was told for the rest of my life. In 2017, I was taken off because I was healed. The Lord restored me. I remember it was an article I was looking at when I did my bullying work that someone did for a newspaper. And I read in there, I looked at it, and it said she knows she'll be on medication the rest of her life. But I'm not. I haven't been on it since. But this was a real, I was bullied relentlessly because of all this, relentlessly. And I tell you.
Well, let me, it's sad. I mean, it's really sad. And we don't have the tools. Your mom didn't have the tools to teach you how to stand in your own strength. Yeah. We talk a whole lot about Christianity and, I just like to say this show is so much about relationship with and not religion. And religion
and that's so important.
God in a box. And so, and my rules, so I had heard the term religion definition is return to bondage. And when I heard that, I was like, God in a box, and he has no box. This is about love and relationship. And the reason we're in this, the place where you're talking about this, where my rules are better than your rules. I'm closer to God than you are. I go to confession, or whatever. I started thinking about this when I was laying over as a flight attendant in Rio, the most sinful city, with the Cristo over, and I'm like, something's odd here, and really going. Religion is not. It's my rules are man-made rules, not God
Thank
and
you.
relationship.
Yes.
And when we can
Yes.
just be in that relationship, which is
Yes.
nothing but filling, you with hope and love. And that's that my show is not about, has nothing to do with religion or even Christianity necessarily. It is,
Right.
let's offer hope. Let's
Yeah.
offer overcoming stories, which yours is,
Yeah.
and that's why you're here. And that's why we talk about these things on here. And that's and if faith is huge. And I believe that who I am is bold faith, no fear. And I've said it for so many years, who I am, because in my other book, Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices, every word matters. Every word matters.
Yeah.
And so we curse ourselves when we say that I am and repeat
Right.
something that God doesn't see in us. And so I off on that tangent, but I do like to recognize, I mean, I talk to anyone that has been an overcomer. It doesn't have to be a person of my faith. So
Yeah.
this is just something to pause and put in here just for a second to let because it's important to me that I want to love as God loves, just
Me
love and
too.
like, but
Yes.
and I boundaries are important. That's the
Yes, they
key.
are.
And so
Yes. Yes.
there we have it. So you're telling a story of overcoming this a little kid being bullied by an adult that is so insecure that you know I'm guessing that her daughter didn't turn out to be the most genuine loving person on the face of the earth.
Her daughter, I remember this woman groomed her for popularity. It was pathetic. And she managed, in her investment, she got some, or some reward for it. This child was popular in middle school. When she was in high school, she fell off her throne, didn't have anybody. I had more friends than she did at that point. But this little girl, you look at people who are considered popular, they're usually born leaders.
They're either born leaders or they're kind of insecure, so that
One
they,
of wannabes. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I've had friends that were popular. I'll say that. I've been around people who were popular. I know people who were popular, but I look at all of them. They're just, a lot of them are just born leaders. A lot of them didn't even think of themselves that way. The ones that I know, and it's to me, popularity is so insignificant. I just did on my Facebook page. I did a post about that this morning. In my own life, because I'm writing my own story on there, sharing it with people. And, when I was in the fifth grade, my best friend in my class was the most popular girl in school. But you know what, Charla? That's not why I even liked her. I liked her because we got along. That's why, we had
well,
fun together.
a good leader would get along with most people and
Yeah.
have that boundary. So, speaking of, your name is Elizabeth with a Z,
Mhm.
Bennett, two T's, and McKinney, just
Yeah.
McKinney. You can find. We want to let people know where they can find you, and your Facebook page is
Church hurt in America.
Church Hurt in America. So that's kind of our topic here, Church Hurt.
Yes.
And people can find you on LinkedIn. They can find you on Facebook in Church Hurt in America. And your website name is
Churchhurt.net.
churchhurt.net. Okay, so I wanted to get that in there in case, so don't forget at the end. But
Yeah, you're good.
so I have a story too. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, church camp, all those things, and very active and my mom was so loved. She was divorced. My dad left when I was 6. And,
Yes.
um, and then she, ended up getting remarried,
Okay.
and, his ex-wife, they were we're all in the same church. His ex-wife, I found out later, and this is what I think happened. I don't know. I was young. I was about 12, I guess. And his ex-wife was spreading all kinds of rumors and stuff about them. Now, my mom was everybody loved my mom, and she was beautiful,
Yeah.
and she was happy, and she was, just genuine good people. And actually him not so much, but that's another story. Regardless, they got married, and the church decided to make, it was one of the bigger churches in Houston, and the church decided to make them the example about divorcing and then remarrying and all that kind of stuff. And
oh my God.
Let me say, it was really sad. It was really hard. And when, to get disfellowshipped when you're just trying to live your life, and
exactly.
That's where I say it's not about religion is those man-made interpretations, man-made rules and regulations.
It really is.
And a God in a box, and there is no box. And anyway, he's us, right? He lives in us. He's the I am in us. And so I didn't know all that then, but it was really sad, and it was really hard, and it turned a lot of people upside down. And
so did my situation was like that. So I get it. I'm just sorry your mom went through that. I really am, Charla.
Yeah, me too. And because she just was so sweet. So there was a lot of hurt there. They let me choose. I kept going. They would take me to that church because that was where all my friends were. And I can't even imagine that now, but and so we ended up at another church, and, it was all else from that. But, so I'm guessing that most people most people probably do have some church hurt, or know people that do.
I think to a degree we all do, because we're imperfect humans.
Well, and so church, let me just define church. Church is people. It's not a building. It's not a building.
It's people, exactly.
Church is people, and they're adding one of us. That's perfect. And so,
no, none of us are.
And those people that feel like they have this power over other people in these organizations, not
that's
so good.
When it gets problematic. And you look at people, and a lot of times we hurt people, we don't even know we're doing it, because a lot of times us ourselves are not really trying to do it. I look back at my situation. I think this woman was acting out of her own narcissism. I really do. This is what she had become. And with her thinking, you tampered with my idol, because her daughter was her idol. You tampered with my idol. We can't have that, because you look at people in idolatry. You tamper with their idol, they're mad. They're furious.
And that poor child having to live up to something that they don't, it seems a little challenging.
Well, her daughter, I don't think, had the personality to maintain popularity. It takes a certain personality. It's usually someone that's outgoing. They take initiative. They are positive, like we've been talking about, And this little girl, she was a science nerd at the end of the day. I don't like to use the term nerd, but she was into science. She might wound up getting a degree in biology. That's where her heart was. And I can only imagine what she went through with her mother with all this.
Sad. There's no winning there when you're in that thing.
Well, when you're in that thing and someone's trying to get their desires met, and they're hurting everybody in the process, there is no winning.
Well, and they're living vicariously through their child, and that's a very dangerous place to be.
And that's what she was doing. Yes. And I look at this little girl, and she wasn't a born leader. She wasn't even a people person if you look at her at the end of the day. She just wasn't, she was happy with her animals, really. But it was sad. And I think, as people, like I said, we're going to do stuff. We're human. It gets problematic when it gets out of control like that. And when people start getting hungry for power, or people start playing God themselves.
Well, I want to shift a little bit to I had something that just came to mind, and but first, if you don't mind, we're going to take a mini moment to talk about one of my most favorite things, which is cellular health. Cellular health. Are you hard and crunchy cells or soft and squishy cells? So we're going to have a little mini break about that. So let's just take a breathing moment here. I'm taking a mini moment to share about cell health. One of the most important pieces in our body. Are your cells hard and crunchy? Are they soft and malleable? Let me tell you, if they're hard and crunchy, the nutrients can't get in and out. And if they're soft and squishy and malleable, the nutrients can. So when you have good, soft, malleable cells, you have better brain function, hair quality, heart function, skin elasticity, inner organs are better, and your joints and muscles are better. Whoop, see that? But like 99% of North Americans, we're out of balance in our omega-3 to omega-6. Test, don't guess. We've got a test. It will absolutely give you your results on a full scale test of your balance. You need to be 3 to 1 or better, like 99% of North Americans are not. So we've got a simple solution. 1 second shot of beautiful golden omega-3 oil a day. Test, don't guess. Now back to the show. Okay, we're back. We're back, and I'm going to just take my liquid gold, my 1 second shot a day of my liquid omegas.
You're hilarious.
And get my omegas back in balance. CharlaAnderson.com/Zenzino, Zinzino. CharlaAnderson.com/Zenzino, because I didn't put it in the commercial. So here we go. And if you can't be you unreal, what's the point? So we were talking, you're talking about this bullying and all this kind of stuff. So what are the solutions? This time goes fast. So let's get towards the solutions on how people can how they can find you, what you offer, and I know you said reach out. We don't have to do this alone. You've got a plan to help folks. So can you want to talk a little to that?
Yeah, I can. Now that school's starting back, this is the perfect opportunity. First of all, you need, when they're upset, you need to listen. I don't mean sit there and play on your phone while you're like, listen. Really listen to what they're saying. These people are hurt. They're really, really hurt. They've been violated. They need love. They don't need judgment. They don't need criticism. They need love. Document everything. Date, time, who was there, what happened. If your child is being bullied, do not call the bully's parents. Because as you see in my case, this woman had precious darling syndrome. That's the little term I use. A lot of these parents have that. They don't want to believe their child can do wrong. And you need to get a third party involved. You really do. And what else?
Well, and so like I was saying, also, I don't think I completed this idea, but also give them some tools to consider seeing a different perspective and to not take everything personally and to go, maybe they just don't have, they don't, like I said before, don't love themselves enough to love others, but they also, what if you could kind of, I don't mean take abuse at all, I'm not saying that, but see that perspective that they just don't know how, and offer a bit of empathy if it's not escalating, if you can possibly manage it so you don't become a victim and thinking they're doing this to me, instead of
Okay.
maybe I had what I used to call a forgiveness release. I guess I still do, but we're all 5-year-olds, little 5 or 7-year-olds that I'll never let that happen to me again. And we start building these layers. So all of us have something in there, right? That was hurt. And,
Yeah.
and most of us, manage to live a life of, decent life regardless. But I think we all have a lot of that in there. So I would say first, I love that you're saying document if there really is, something going on, but don't, this is my thought, and you're the expert. My thought is like, don't just assume that your child is perfect too, right? I mean, they may be, they may be wanting a little revenge about something, or maybe a little, they're not.
None of us are.
And they might be the bully, so really, if you have discernment, and you look at both sides and you listen to both sides, and let's give these kids tools and words. And I'm a mindset coach. So, what if you have us, I told him, you wear this eggshell around you that when people say things, just let it bounce back to them. The vast majority of things people say and do have so little to do with you, really. You just happen to be in their way, the one in their earshot. And so what if you can wear this protective layer and just let that stuff, if they're not hurting physically, or, just stand in your own strong power. So there's so many, like you said, there's so many different situations. We can't judge, but if I was listening to somebody tell the story, I'm going to go, thinking, well, I wonder what their part was. We want to give benefit of the doubt and be discerning.
Yeah, we do. And one thing that I've always recommended to parents, get them in therapy, because these therapists are going to sit down and they're going to go over everything that they're dealing with, and they're going to know how to handle this. You want someone to be happy and well adjusted. Get them help immediately. When I've talked to parents, they've told me the signs and symptoms that their children are having. And I've told them, I said, get them immediately into some kind of therapy where they can set goals and work through the trauma. Because some of these people are severely wounded. They are traumatized. And a lot of times I think when a person keeps having layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of bad experience, that this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I can tell you where, we can talk about tools, but I'm going to tell you where your healing is, because this is what healed me. It's in the scriptures. That's where you need to go to find your answers. We can talk self-help books. We can talk experts. We can do it all. And this is what I'm doing in my own stuff. I am going to the Word with this, going to the Word, and depending on the situation, looking towards Scripture that fits the situation. So, that's where, when you talk of these things, that's where I'm going, because really that is where your healing is going to happen.
So do you offer coaching specifically?
I do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
right now I am shepherding a couple of people, and I, they ask me I try to help them, I kind of see where they are, I'm not doing it formally right now because I'm planning to launch in September. That's when I'll be going full throttle. Well, I've been building a lot of this up. So
nice. So we're recording the end of July. So
yeah, we are.
That's only a month away.
I know, right? I'm looking to do it in September. But when I go back to my bullying work, when I did it before, a lot of the times I identified the psychology that was going on with the person. And I would tell them, this is what it sounds like you have. You need to get in therapy. You need to get in therapy. You need to talk to someone, a psychotherapist. You need to be in something. And if they were, if they needed medication, they needed to get on it. I was on medication. I got healed. And, and God will heal you. Just ask Him. Pray. Get people to pray. It will happen. It'll happen in His timing, but it'll happen. It really will. It'll happen. I can speak. He's in the restoration business. So.
Absolutely. And there's, he's love, and he wants you to feel loved and know you're loved.
It does.
And there's nothing, he loves you if you're, like, did I say this already on this show?
I don't know if you did or not.
You're a murderer. He loves every
everybody.
Creation on every
Yes.
person on the face of the earth, and wants us all restored. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of drama. So, and I gave up attachment to drama in 2013, and
I don't want it.
So I try to, just kind of skirt my way around, or just kind of ignore it. Drama.
Yeah.
And if you watch a lot of television, you're going to have drama, and they encourage it. So I would we both discourage watching much television, for sure, especially the news.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of divisiveness they're promoting, and victimhood, that there's a lot of that. So in that media world is not they're not our friends. They're not telling us
they really
who we are, because who we are is perfect in every way. None of us are perfect.
No.
I cancel what I just said, but God sees us as He just loves us. If He is love, He can't not be not love, and there's nothing that you can do to be loved more or less by God. There's nothing you can do to be loved more or less by God. Now, there's certain things that you can do to have a better life and to shift. And if you don't like where you are, you can't change how you got here, but you can change your next step where you're headed. So those are words I say a lot. People listen to me, they hear the same messages a lot.
I know, you're funny.
That's the truth. It's
the truth. It really is. It really is. And I was going to say something, and I lost my train of thought.
Well, you said your one of your quotes is, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but I will not be bullied."
You got that right, sister. Y'all will not. I know how to stop a bully. That's why.
Right. And
in their tracks.
We can shift just a smidge to the narcissistic personality, but because you will never, ever, ever win if someone is truly a narcissist. There's no possible way that you can have the last word, and that's I hate that. It just is so sad that so many people seem to have become more. What they're so inward focused, right? So, the one way in a relationship, that somebody is, just you're trying to have trying to get your point across. You will never get your point across. They will never agree with you. So one of the things it's doing, and I did this, and just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, and I'm still going to the store. Or, yes, I'm still going out. Or yes, and is my one of my key phrases. It's like, yes, I hear you, and I'm still doing this. Or yes, I hear you, and you're still grounded. Or yes, I'm, whatever it is. Yes, and are powerful words. And I do have a whole chapter on that in my little book.
Well, you're mentioning a narcissist. When I was in college, it was considered a personality disorder. Now, narcissism is a full-blown character disorder, and it's prevalent in our society today. It is out of control. I would say at this point, maybe 1 in 3 people are narcissistic. It's about The narcissist is about image. It's all about what's on the outside. It's all about the pocketbook. It's all about the status. That's what they look at. They don't empathize because they don't know how. They have no empathy. You saw what happened with this woman. A normal, well-adjusted person has a well-adjusted amount of empathy. They would not even go there with someone else. But see, you were dealing with someone without empathy. And this is what they do. This is what they do. You don't tamper with them. They're always right. Oh, and their narcissistic rage is scary. They can go off. They can really, and shred a person apart. Shred a person apart. I have crossed paths in my life. People come and go in our lives. And some of the people that have come and gone in mine, I've looked back and realized, were they narcissistic? I think they were. They were so image conscious. They were so worried about status. I can't go to lunch with you, but I can go with you.
Yeah, the selfie mentality, right?
I think that adds to it. This is why I don't like to have my picture taken. You get on Facebook, you see the perfect life of people. They make it look larger than life. And a lot of these people are narcissistic in some cases, and this is why today I don't take pictures, because I'm more concerned about what's inside. I don't care what you got going on out here. I care about what you got going on in here. That's what I'm looking at. And, it's out of control. But this goes along with the last days. We were warned about a lot of this. It's false prophets are rising up. I think this is adding to the church problem. You got a lot of them getting into the church and they're fooling everybody. They're larger than life. They're, too adorable to not touch, whatever. And they're in there and they're tearing the body of Christ up. That's what they're doing. And, there's so much more I could say on this.
So what we do, you and I are very confident. I'm very confident that, God has already won.
He has.
And so I'm outrageously optimistic that we get to, we're watching this in this times looking in such chaos, but if you can maintain your peace that passes understanding, that be still and know, you can maintain and walk in this confidence of God has already won, we're just watching Satan having his last ditch effort.
He's working overtime because he knows his time is running out.
Yep. Amen. And he's so there's this is what we're witnessing is not politics. It's good and evil, a war between good and evil. It has
come down to good versus evil out there now. It truly has. I was talking at my church. I have a group of girlfriends, and we have a lot of conversations about this stuff. And we have come to the bottom line here is it's come to good versus evil, Satan versus God. That's where we are.
And these, I don't know, predators or, the politicians defined it, so many of them have been, I think, compromised, but somehow along the line, or we got the power in them. And so that is coming to light, and they're protecting their image, like you're saying, is coming to light. And I believe a lot of the more crazy, ideology that has just surfaced in the last 20 or 30 years. It was like, this is so off this topic, I think, but oh my goodness, I believe that somebody, the media, the powers that be, whoever's creating all this, somebody's got to have an agenda behind it. And
there is an
agenda. I feel like they're saying, I bet they will never fall for there's more than two genders. They'll never fall for more than two genders. Well,
it's out of control. And
they did.
It's we can keep doing this, or we can get right with God.
Yeah, I believe we really don't need a lot of laws. We need to be.
We need a lot of Jesus.
Golden rule. We need the golden rule. treat others the way you want to be treated.
Be treated
Be
exactly.
kind and
Yeah.
love one another and have empathy, like you were just saying. And we need to turn the world back towards
We need
just
Jesus. Oh
and,
my God.
and and pick up after yourself. I always have to add that one. Clean
Yeah,
up
there
after
you go.
yourself.
Yeah.
Which is still part of being kind, right? So,
Yeah. You
yeah. So
don't know what someone's going through. Just be nice. Be kind. What do you get out of being ugly? Really? I don't get it.
as a flight attendant, I'll just say this: we're going to have this winding down. So think of your last call to action or whatever you want to share. But, I remember a getting on the employee bus to go home, to go to the car, and after a flight, and the agents were on this employee bus talking about this one passenger,
Yeah.
and the flight attendants had been dealing with and talked about this one passenger, and this ripple of, you've got 30 people that you've probably witnessed, many more than that, of this horrific behavior, adult behavior, that people literally rippled through many departments and people, and I don't remember the story what he did, but it was, who wants to be that?
No. Yeah.
And what if, and obviously he's a very tortured in person to treat other people
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And so what, I want to be known as the one that, man, they just want to stay in. I'm literally, this happens in my home. People they
Yeah.
want to be in my presence. They don't know why, but they want. I go in. I attract friends because my goal is to be the light in the dark place. My goal is to
Yes.
step out and be the light.
Yes.
And people want to be in your presence and your energy.
Yes, they
You get
do.
service people that want to that come and
Yes.
just kind of hang a little, linger a little longer than is.
I have no trouble as an adult making friends. The Lord has put many people around me,
I
and
go
I
to the
think
grocery store. I have great,
yes, and
I've
I
got,
try to be a light. Just try to approach people in love.
and know
Just
that they're going through
love.
hard things. And the hardest, this
Who
is
isn't?
another saying thing I quote out of my little candy bar hugs book is like, the harder they are to love, the more they need it. So this is
Yeah,
even, bullies need love too. we don't,
we all do. We
we need
really do.
our distance or our discernment, but
But you
sending
know
them.
what?
And another way to do that is just, may you be blessed, may you be blessed, may you be blessed, and keep
Yeah.
your distance if that's
But
necessary.
you know who the real bully is at the end of the day? Really? No. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. Really,
Well, this is
the
the
Lord has
most
shown
people.
me so much here.
I pointed up and then no, so I'm pointing down, but so people tend to listen to this on podcasts more than watch it. So,
Yeah,
so I've got sometimes you want to
yeah,
describe
but
it.
yes, he's the real bully. He fuels all this. The Lord over the past few years has shown me every ounce of this. When I stepped out of the field, he started showing me a whole other, just looking at it from a whole other perspective. I'm like, oh my gosh, he really is at the bottom of this. Really and truly. Don't feed him. Don't. That's what I say. Don't feed this bully. You're
And
giving him what
take
you
a deep
want.
breath and listen to the
Yes,
still small voice. And I guarantee you
exactly.
the answers to almost anything you can ever ask, if you would
Yeah.
just be still and listen. Ask,
And know that
ask,
he's
believe, receive. You're gonna,
God.
and ask, but you don't beg. We don't
Yeah,
have to
no,
beg.
no, no, no. You don't have to beg him. But just, 46:10 in Psalms is the perfect starting point and stopping point. Just be still. You'll hear that voice. He will direct you. He will guide you. He will give you confirmations. He will talk to you through other people. He will prompt you to do things.
If you will
Just
listen
listen.
to it and step towards it, even if it feels completely opposite of what
Yes.
advice or what you, I
Yeah.
I would almost guarantee, and I don't know how I would do that, but I mean, I feel like almost any time that if you really listen inside to your still small voice, be quiet. So we don't ever have quiet around us, right? We've got noise all the time.
Oh my
Something's going on.
gosh.
We're always looking at these
I can't stand it.
machines.
In my home, it's quiet because I don't turn anything on.
Mine is completely silent
Mine
99%
too.
of the
Oh
time.
my gracious.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't want background
I don't
noise.
turn. No.
I drive. I'm driving on a 5-hour
I
trip.
drive in silence. I
I'm
don't
going to drive
want all of that. Yes.
and I'm going to take a 12-hour trip, and I'm like, I've got 12 hours of silence, man. I very
But I'll do
seldom.
it because I can hear what he's telling me. I don't want all that. I want to hear what he's telling me. If he's whether it's I'm hearing it aside, whether it's I'm hearing it from another person, whether it's a confirmation, so whatever,
But
whatever.
the noise level in our society is I just leave it on for the background noise. I'm like,
No, turn it off. Turn it off, please.
you can't hear
No,
anything
you
else
can't.
if you have that.
You
So
can't.
we're ending up here. This is amazing. Do you have your last thoughts or anything else you want to add to this? And we will have to call
Talk
it
to
a
me.
day.
Talk to me. You can find me on my website. You can find me
So
on Facebook.
repeat your website and repeat these things.
Okay. churchhurt.net. You can find me on Facebook at Church Hurt in America. And if you're looking to collaborate, look for me on LinkedIn, Elizabeth B. McKinney. And let's talk. Talk to me.
Find somebody to talk to if you're having
Yeah.
this kind of issue. And it's great that we have found each other through is it Bree?
Bree, yes, we
Bree
have.
Talk. I would have to mention Terry Lee.
Oh, she's precious. She is precious.
A lot of my guests
I
come
love
from
her.
her.
She is precious. She
She's
really
a speaker
is.
coach. She's a speaker.
Yes,
She's a
is.
Christian. She's trying to get Christians that want to speak,
Yes.
giving them the tools to do so.
She has been a blessing to me. She truly has.
Yeah.
And this was a blessing too. Thank you, Charla, for having me.
Thank you. Well, it's been a great quick hour again, and I'm so grateful for you. And I will we're here. Please go to charlaanderson.com/podcast/Zenzino, but /podcast, and it'll be a blog, and this will come out on my website as a blog, and then when you watch it, you can watch it on YouTube. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and go back and look. It's time for me to start building this up a bit. So I'm so grateful for you to have been my guest in our time today.
Thank you.
I look forward to getting to know you better.
Yeah, thank you, Charla.
You have a blessed day, and always, always, always choose joy.